Hi everyone, Larry Satchwell here. I'm going to make another tree today, and I saw this on Pinterest. If I can remember, I'll post the link. I'm going to use the golden ratio here to make this tree. If you're not familiar with the golden ratio, it's a mathematical formula that is pleasing to the human eye, basically. And so this tree is going to be 24 inches tall, and using that ratio, the base is, I'm going to use 14. It was 14.8, but I'll see what 14 looks like. So I'm going to start here on a large piece of cardboard and just make a triangle. Yeah, that does look pretty good. Let's make a center line. So the base is going to be roughly here. And I'm going to start. This is going to be pallet wood project. Picked up a pallet over the weekend. And there is nothing magical about these lines I'm making. Don't know how many I want, but that's looking pretty good. So, the next thing I'll do then is to make the leaves or the boughs of this tree. I'm going to come in looks like about 1.5 inches, 1 5/8. And again, right here, right here, right here. You don't want to make this too symmetrical, it's not going to look homemade. So all you need for this project is a pallet, a jigsaw, and some nails, and a hammer to hammer the nails in. This is my pattern. I'm going to go ahead and cut it out with a jigsaw. When I was editing this last night, I realized the camera was not on while I was cutting out the cardboard. It's very, very simple, especially with the jigsaw here. It just sails through it. So I thought I'd show you just a little bit of that. Now, after I cut these out yesterday, I realized I had a little bit of trouble putting them all back together. So I'm going to cut one out at a time and put them aside, because all these little strips right here, it gets very confusing. I'm not even going to break this pallet apart. I'm going to use it as a workstation. It looks like I can get these pretty close together and minimize the cuts. All right, we'll take this puzzle back inside and figure it out. So I brought everything back into the shop. I took this off the bottom of the pallet, and it's going to work as my stem. And I could go ahead and put these on here just like it is. You might want to rough up the edges a little bit. But I'm going to take my pocket knife my son-in-law Michael gave me, and I'm just going to go over the edges of each one and round those off with just a rough little carving. Whoops, wrong grain there. Make sure you keep your fingers out of the way. The first responders don't need an emergency room call with the guy that cut his finger off in the middle of this crisis we're in. And you can carve on this as much as you want or not at all. I mean, that's totally a preference up. You're the artist on this. but eventually that's going to end up something like that. So that's what I'm going to do on the rest of these. This also hides any joint issues you might have from not having cut exactly square or on the line. These knots will be a little bit of a problem. That's where a nice sharp knife comes in. I'll take a minute or two every few cuts and just strop my knife. That keeps the edge on it instead of having to take it back to the sharpening stone each time. This particular pallet was pine. You never know exactly what you're going to get. There are some pallets you want to avoid. I think they have an H something on them, number on them. That means they've been treated for critters and stuff like that. So I'll come back when I get all these carved off. But it really only took no more than 10 minutes to put the edge on all of those. But one thing you want to do before you glue that on is to make a stand for it. So I'm going to cut this piece this direction. Looks like I'm going to need to sand that out just a bit. Sandpaper on a paint stick. Yeah. You want to make sure it's going to stand up. And that's a good fit. And I'm going to put this piece here just as a support. This piece of scrap is the same size. And now I can start building this. I'm going to use Titebond 2. Any woodworking glue would work. So in gluing this up, I want to make sure that this point doesn't come past the bottom, otherwise it's not going to stand up. And I'm going to put this roughly in the middle. And I'm going to add some glue. I've cleaned these off a little bit. If you don't clean them off, you're not going to get good glue adhesion. So you need to clean it off a little bit. I've cut my main stem a little short here. It's going to be close. It was showing. Boy, I did cut it close on that top. So I'm going to take a scrap of wood and lay it right down the center. So I've added some weights here. What I'm going to do now is wait for this to dry. Then I can turn it over and put some nails in it without the nails showing. Well, let's see what we've got. It's the next morning. Hopefully this held on here. It did. Now, I was looking for nails this morning and realized I really don't have any. I think a 4-penny finishing nail would be good here. I've got these siding nails that I have had for a long time, but they're 1 5/8. So I think they're going to come all the way through. So I'm going to need to snap the tips off of several of these, and that's actually not a bad thing. If you put a sharp nail, especially in this wood up here where it's really close to the edge, into the wood, it's likely to split. So I'm just going to take my bolt cutters here. I can do 3 at a time and just snap about 1/4 of an inch off of there. And then I can put 2 nails in each one of these. I put an exceptionally deep burn on these because I really want to bring the green out, and this pine or spruce, softwood, whatever it is, I think that'll really do it. I've got a couple of dollar store brushes here, one brass, one steel, and I've got a stainless steel brush from Harbor Freight. This next part is really messy, so I would really encourage you to do it outside. And you can see which brush you like best. This one's taking it pretty deep. This is in lieu of carving it. I'm going with the green here. It's probably faster to carve it, but this gives the tree, a whole different look. I'll turn the camera back on when I'm finished. So I'm working on two smaller ones. I've finished with this one. This one is all carved, and it actually took less time, or no more time, than this. I tried to brush as much of the surface of this I could with a steel brush. Now I'm using a dry brush method to add some color to it. This is just bare flat wall paint. I really can't tell you what color it is. I went to Home Depot and explained to the guy that I was colorblind. I was looking for a nice Christmas tree type green, and this is where he steered me. I hope it's right. I haven't even asked Karen about it. But I'm going to put a good coat on here. And then I'm going to try to brush most of it off. I like the ridges in here. I'm not sure I like the dark stuff. This is the medium size one. It's 18 inches. I think it's 11 inches at the bottom. The small one is 12 inches, and it's 7.5 inches at the bottom. I think it's going to make a nice threesome.